boys and girls, welcome back to another vlog. Today we are talking about why I bought the S4 over an S6 or an M3. But before that, I recently had test pipes installed on this car, and while we have a video coming on it, I figured I would give you a little preview. So we're merging on the highway right here. Hopefully nobody's in front of us, and nobody's in front of us. Allow me to play you the sounds of my people. Anyway, let's talk about today's topic, which is why did I buy the S4 over another car, such as a more expensive car like the M3 or an S6? Because I've gotten a couple comments, mostly from one guy, that doesn't understand why I'm modifying this car instead of saving my money and buying something better, quote unquote. And I'm gonna apologize in advance for the dirty window behind me. I haven't watched the car in a while because we have Volksbahn on Sunday. Volksbahn's a show at Castle in the Clouds in New Hampshire. I'm running it along with a bunch of friends. There'll be a link in the description to get to that event page. I hope to see you guys there. It's gonna be a blast. So why did I buy the S4? Now let's go back about a year and 2 months ago to the position that I was in with my GTI. My GTI was starting to have major issues. The clutch was starting to get stuck. The slave cylinder felt like it was on its way out, and the clutch was grabbing really high. I felt like it was only a matter of time until I was going to have to replace both the clutch and the slave cylinder, which is a good amount of money if you know Volkswagens and Audis. Now on top of that, I just started doing this long commute to work. It's about 35 miles each way. My GTI already had 138,000 miles on it. This window is really bothering me. If I had started putting on 2,000 miles a month, those miles would have added up even faster like they have on this car, and I probably would have run into more issues, which probably would have made financial sense. Rather than put $3,000 or $4,000 more in the GTI, because at that point I probably would have bought a KO4 as well if I had upgraded the clutches, and that would have meant new injectors. It would have opened a whole new can of worms, and I probably would have been, you know, 5, 6, 7 grand deep. Now I had been shopping around for about 4 or 5 months at that point. I knew the GTI was on its way out, and I wanted to get a feel of what the market was like. This car happened to pop up at the right price. It had the right options except for the sport diff. Now at the time of buying this car, I had also looked around the market. My other options that we're looking at were CTSVs, which are about $42,000. There was the S6, which is about $45,000 to $50,000, depending on the ones that you want. You could get a higher mileage one for less, but I really wanted something around 40,000, 50,000 miles. There was an E92 M3, which I didn't even consider. That's just not my cup of tea, not something I'm interested in, and not something that I'm gonna spend my money on. They're great cars, just don't do it for me. Or there was the S4, which is coming in right around $28,000 to $30,000. So that's roughly $15,000 cheaper than everything else that I was considering. I couldn't afford those things at the $40,000 or $45,000 price point anyway. So, not only did I want an S4, but it was the only thing that I was interested in that was in my price range as well. So over the next year or so, since I bought the car, I've put quite a bit of money into this car, both with maintenance and with modifications. And people seem to think that with that money that I could have saved by not spending this car, I could have bought an S6 or a CTSV. Now CTSV and an M3 would have been about $12,000 more than I spent on this car, and an S6 would have been about $15,000 to $20,000 more than I spent on this car. Should I have not spent anything in the car or just kept my GTI and waited a year and then ended up in an S6? I think the answer is no, because what I did is bought a car in my price range. If I had to spend 3, 4, 5 years paying off a huge loan on an S6, I wouldn't have been happy. And on top of that, I probably wouldn't have had money to modify the car, which means I'm driving around in a stock car for 3 years. That's not what interests me. If you like driving around in stock cars, all the power to you. But what interests me, again, is making my car mine, making it unique. So the S4 seemed like the perfect platform. There's readily available mods. There's forums that have used mods on them, and it's a platform that a lot of companies are focusing on, so therefore they'd be interested in working with me on. On top of that, it was a platform that I was genuinely interested in before I knew all that stuff, and a car that I really liked and I still really like. So what I chose to do is modify this car, make it my own, and make myself happy. Now, sure, there could be people on the internet who are looking at my spending of money and saying, hey, that's not the most responsible thing. You know, you could have saved that money you spent on mods and put it towards the next car. But the fact of the matter is, this is what makes me happy. this is what's fun for me, and this is what makes videos for YouTube. If I modify my car, I get a video out of it, and I get my own happiness out of it because I'm doing a mod that I want to do. I've said that from day one. The mods are something that I would have done regardless of if I'm filming on YouTube. Filming on YouTube, just one, allows me to connect with companies more and probably get through my process of modding a car faster than if I was funding it myself. There are companies that are willing to give discounts or sponsor parts in exchange for publicity, which makes sense and is a smart decision on both parts. But this is what I do. If you don't modify your car, it's probably not something you understand, but once you do it, and once you get an appreciation for how unique your car is, and how people start going, oh hey, that's Eli's car instead of that's another S4, suddenly it all makes sense. So that is a very long-winded answer to why I bought my S4 versus saving for an M3 or an S6 or a CTSV. Would love to hear your thoughts on the situation and what you would have done if you were in my shoes. Leave them in the comments below and I will respond back. JHM Test Pipes review video coming soon with some sound clips. I hope you guys enjoyed that one at the beginning of the video. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching. Go out there and spread some positivity, and I will catch you guys in the next video.